Let's consider the perspective of the green synth. It will see 9 blue synths and will realize that it is the green one. So the green synth will shut down by the next clock cycle. They say it's the hardest logic puzzle in the world, immortalized by the webcomic xkcd, and even tackled by the brilliant 21st century mathematician Terence Tao. Well, believe it or not, I encountered the real-life version on a little planet called Kobanashi Maruchi, stardate 2048.0. Captain, I have found advanced artificial life on this planet. They appear to be sentient and capable of complex thought and communication. They are software synths, living in a sort of virtual reality. They are 100% logical. After close association with humans, I find that curiously refreshing. They are in constant communication with each other. It is fascinating. They have a variety of different traits and characteristics. For instance, they have a color. They are either green or blue, but they do not talk about any of these characteristics. They do not know their own characteristics, but they know the characteristics of all others at any point in time.
Interesting dynamic. No reason for discrimination if you don't even know your own color. A very interesting way towards diversity without discrimination.
Yes, and it is a stable society. However, once one of the synths finds out their own color, they have to shut down by the next clock cycle, which is a second here. As they are in constant communication, this will immediately be known to all others. In fact, it is a highly advanced civilization and consists of 1 million synths, blue and green in roughly equal numbers. But it appears that my interaction with them might cause a shutdown of their entire system.
Oh, Spock, I appreciate your transparency and taking ownership of this situation. Can you walk me through exactly what happened? I want to make sure we're in compliance with the Prime Directive.
In my communication, I mentioned encountering a synth with a green color.
But that shouldn't be a problem, right? They already knew that. They know everyone else's color.
Not quite, Captain. There is a difference between common knowledge and mutual knowledge. Let me demonstrate. Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Here is a summary of the situation. Please feel free to pause the video and think about what will happen to this logical society. Let's derive the logical consequences of this information. First, we consider a society of 10 synths, out of which 1 is green and 9 are blue. Now, a trustworthy Vulcan visitor arrives and announces that at least one of them is green. What will happen? Let's consider the perspective of the green synth. It will see 9 blue synths and will realize that it is the green one. So the green synth will shut down by the next clock cycle. All other synths will see that the green synth has shut down and will realize that they are blue, because otherwise the green synth would not have shut down. So, all blue synths will also shut down by the subsequent clock cycle. Now, let's consider the case of 2 green synths within a society of 10 synths. Again, a visitor announces that at least one of them is green. Let's consider the perspective of one of the green synths. It does not know its color, but it sees 1 other green synth and 8 blue synths. However, as a logical being, it knows that the other green synth would have shut down after 1 clock cycle if it was the only green one. So, it concludes that it must be green as well. As the other green synth will draw the same conclusion, both green synths will shut down by the next clock cycle. Again, the blue synths will see that the green synths have shut down and will realize that they are blue, so they will shut down as well. Now let's analyze the case of 3 green synths. Again, a visitor announces that at least one of them is green. From the perspective of one of the green synths, it does not know its color, but it sees 2 other green synths and 7 blue synths. It knows that if it was blue, the other 2 green synths would have shut down after 2 clock cycle. But as they don't, it concludes that it must be green. As the other green synths draw the same conclusion, all 3 green synths will shut down by the 3rd clock cycle, and the blue synths will shut down by the 4th clock cycle. By mathematical induction, we can see that in a society with n green synths, all green synths will shut down by the nth clock cycle after the visitor's announcement. and all blue synths will shut down by the n+1th clock cycle. We have about 500,000 green synths, so we have less than 6 days left before a complete shutdown of this civilization. Not a very pleasant prospect.
You have a gift for understatement. It's not a pleasant prospect at all. But what I don't understand is what new information you brought to them. Each one of them already knew that there are green synths among them.
Captain, you are applying human standards to non-human cultures. My announcement made this information common knowledge. Let me explain. Let's examine the case of 3 green synths again. We give them the labels A, B, and C. We consider A's perspective. A does not know its color. There are 2 possible scenarios. A is blue or A is green. Now we go one level deeper. We want to understand what A knows about B's perspective. B does not know its own color, but for the case that A is blue, B sees 1 blue synth, that is A, and 1 green synth, that is C. B also has to consider 2 scenarios in which it can either be blue or green, and the same applies for the scenario of A being green. Let's zoom out again. We go another level deeper. We want to understand what A knows about what B knows about C. As C does not know its own color, for each of the 4 scenarios, we have to consider 2 scenarios for C. This is A's perspective of B's perspective of C's perspective. We can now see what happens once the visitor announces that at least one of the synths is green. Now, A knows that B knows that C knows that at least one of them is green. That means that this one possible scenario of all of them being blue is eliminated. After 1 second, all the scenarios with 2 blue synths are eliminated. After 2 seconds, all the scenarios with 1 blue synth are eliminated, and we are left with A, knowing that B knows that C knows that all synths are green. So all of them will have to shut down.
Ah, that makes sense. But what can we do now? How can we save them?
A solution may exist. However, it requires a creative approach. I believe it would be beneficial to gather input from a wider audience. The collective intelligence of our viewers may provide valuable insights that we have not yet considered.
Oh, great. Because nothing says competent leadership like outsourcing our decision-making to the internet. Look, you fix this mess, Spock.
Esteemed viewers, leave your suggestions in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the LeekWeek channel.
Yes, they better subscribe and come up with some ideas. Otherwise, I will make you an intergalactic traffic warden for the next decade. Live long and prosper, everyone.